and boring people. So shall we play them?
We can talk about the song and then get ready to do it.
Okay, so basically this is a song I've been working on for a while now, mainly the backing track. It started a couple of years ago. It was going to go on an album that I had in mind, collaborating with an artist named Bree. Then that went on the back burner. I worked on it some more over time, and maybe like last month, spoke with PlunderSteed about getting a collab with him, and got 3 songs lined up, including this one. Then the thing with Michael happened, and we finally got our inspiration of what to do with the track. So what happened was PlunderSteed sang on it, and he got help from Gaz, who's sitting right to my left. Yeah. Yeah. All right. So basically, yeah, and so we've been working. He's been working on it for the past. I think they can hear me.
Yeah.
We've been working on it for the past couple of days, specifically since the Michael incident. So far, this is what we have.
So actually, when you were putting together the song, it was kind of sitting in the can for a while, right? I mean,
it was sitting in the can for, like, I started like 2 years ago, and then it was sitting in the can for a while because the album I was going to do with Bree, who pretty much dropped off the map, like nobody knows where he is. So it was pretty much on the back burner for a long time, and then I picked it up about 6 months ago again. Maybe around the same time I made the remix of, started making the remix of Ellie Goulding's Burn.
it was just on your SoundCloud?
Yeah, that I just posted on my SoundCloud, November? I think it was November.
Yeah, so, correct me if I'm wrong, but when I first saw this song, it had the title Unicorn of the Highlands.
Yeah. I was tossing title names around for the thing, because originally it was just Thanks Sydney, because it sounded like a Dutch house track, which it was. And Sydney Sampson at the time released a song that I really liked, and it was like a Dutch house track. And so I thought, why not just pay homage to him in the most obvious way? And then, about 6 months ago, when I picked it back up, I changed it to Unicorn of the Highlands, thanks to, I think, the same person that gave me the idea for Husky Fire Remix, Green Husky on Twitter, who's like, oh, this sounds like, some Highlands crap. I was like, oh, really?
Whatever that is.
Yeah, whatever that is.
So what kind of tools did you use to make this track?
I think originally I decided to use FL Studio with it, and then I incorporated some native instruments work with it, and we're getting Skype stuff. What is that? Rodeo Equestria. We're going to stop sending messages. Okay.
Oh, that's fine. Yeah.
So, yeah.
All right, and how long did it take you guys to put together the actual music for the track?
If you subtract the time it was on back burner and me, kicking the can with it, it only took us like half a month to get it done. Because it was sending back and forth, and he making edits, and then me making edits, and then finally we're like, this is good.
Was he also using FL Studio?
I think he was using Ableton to make his edits.
Okay. So did that, from a technical standpoint, was that challenging to use two different
Not really, because I would go in and then I would make edits in FL Studio, send it over to him. He had a little more of his bit in Ableton and send it back to me, and then I add some of my stuff through native instruments, and then boom.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, did you learn anything in particular about your tools while you were making this project?
Well, I don't know if Knife Pun is watching or on the thing, but I told him on Twitter because of them kind of questioning me I have been producing since 6th grade, so I was like probably 10 or something at the time, um, using GarageBand, but I moved on from there. And it's actually not that hard for me in particular. It's not that hard to use programs like FL Studio and Ableton and Native Instruments because it's just all there. They pretty much hand you the tools. They don't tell you, oh, go look for it. And if you want, you could go look for it. Like Brogan Teddy Bear, of course, is on the thing. He knows when he made the songs a year ago, he was using samples from a third-party site, like a site where you can download house samples and make tracks out of a combination of the kits and samples that are in that package.
Okay.
So, and if you want to do that, you can go get those. So it's like, I think EDM's like the easiest genre to get into, really.
Yeah.
Because you don't need that much talent.
Yeah.
Cue the Skrillex jokes.
Now,
What are you talking about?
Oh, calm down, you.
one of the most distinct parts of this song is the main lead melody that kicks in around 52 seconds and comes back around 2:16. It kind of fades back in.
Yeah.
And that was, when I was listening to it, that was what really drew me to this project. It sounded like there was something that we could really do something with it.
Yeah.
Where, how did it come to be?
Out of that part.
Yeah, that particular melody.
Half of it was me, and the other half was Bree, because we were sitting here. Well, not sitting here, but I was sitting on my computer, and he was sitting on his computer, and we were kind of shooting the breeze, going, "What? We've reached this point. What can we do with it?" And he wanted it to be more melodic, and I was like, I actually agreed with him. I don't usually agree with other people. Knife Pony knows this. But yeah, so we basically came about because we were shooting the breeze, shooting out ideas, and we eventually came to agree on the one idea of making it melodic, making it dreamy, kind of give people atmospheric
feel. Kind of trance.
Yeah.
Way. It was different from the rest of your work. It's kind of really caught my eye. And for those who don't know, we first met. Where did we meet? It was through Skype. It was through Skype.
Actually, what happened?
Well, the meetup.
What actually happened was, okay, me and PlunderSteed, or PlunderSteed and I. Sorry for my improper English.
Okay. We can mute this one here.
So.
Okay, this one's muted. It's fine. It's not coming from this.
Okay.
It's fine.
Anyway, so we actually run a meetup group called Morones Philadelphia, even though we're from Jersey, across the river.
Close enough.
Close enough. Just missed it by an inch. But what happened was I had become. Somebody said something?
No, it was you.
Oh. So what happened was I ended up becoming vice president of Morones Philadelphia Meetup Group back in July of 2013, and it was all thanks to Crystallize, who was the president. She's still the president, thank goodness, because I don't want to pay the bills for that. God knows how much they charge. But technically, I'm unofficially the president of Morones Philadelphia. And then an NLR minister joined, and a couple months ago, actually.
Yeah, that's me.
Yep. And also Valkyrie Knight, who was originally going to be on this hangout.
Valkyrie Knight may be joining us here as a member of Hall Equestria, which is a totally different thing, but it just illustrates that it's a small world.
Yeah, it's a small world after all. Well, he does do drills, you know that, right? He's reserves.
Yeah, he's reserved.
Yeah. So basically what happened was I was going to schedule a meetup at Longbridge Park in Haynesbrook, New Jersey, and PlunderSteed, here, was going to be at the meetup with me, and then we would go back to his house and do some studio work. That didn't work out where nobody showed up to the meetup.
I'd work that day.
Yeah, he ended up having last minute work that day. I was like, okay. So later that day, we hung out and did some studio work at his house, and that's how we ended up doing the 3 collab projects. Then maybe about a week ago, he updated me on what was going on with the projects. He was halfway done doing Kiki Love, which some of you, I don't know if any of you were paying attention to my SoundCloud, but there was a track I uploaded for the benefit of Kiki Habibi and her family that was supposed to go on an album that pretty much dropped off the map. It wasn't released, but I made Kiki Love for that album, and since that album is pretty much, I don't know where, I figured I'd do more with it and have PlunderSteed do vocals on it. Then I had him backed up with Kiki Love, Weekly Enable Swag Points. As you all know, I'm obsessed with whoring that track all over the place. And then Unicorn of the Highlands, which we're now set on calling Speed On, Pony On, thanks to Shikari Speeder's suggestion. So I don't know if we're ready to.
Well, yeah, I'd like to. Sarah? Yeah. Are you available?
Gaz! PlunderSteed's calling you.
Well, because so far we've covered where the track came from, how you
Yeah.
guys made it, and then how it is that we met, and I think we're ready to kind of talk about the next step where, like you said a week ago, we decided that we're going to kind of make it into a full production where we're going to take the track, add some vocal lines to it, and actually give it a focused cause. And toward that end, you kind of handed it to me to say, make something cool.
Yeah.
And so I sat down. I kind of struggled with it for a little bit, but over the last few days, once we got under a time crunch, where you said, "Oh, hey, we need to be done by Sunday night," so I was like, "Shit." So
Yeah.
I didn't make all that much progress. I mean, I did some.
It's okay. It's okay. But like I said, we know that it's important at this point that it's going to be done in this coming week.
Yeah.
I didn't mean to rush you that way.
That was,
I kind of felt rushed myself.
It was going to be a Sunday afternoon thing where it would just be the two of us working on this project, but I kind of moved from there into this broadcast, and it's great that people are showing an interest in showing up. We do appreciate the interest there. We will give you a quality product here pretty soon. But I wrote some lyrics and did a couple tracks for kind of a house type feel, but I wasn't satisfied where it was. So yesterday I was talking to Gaz about how we want to evolve this project, how we want to make it so that it's interesting and related, especially now that it was about Michael Morones. And to me, my background is heavy metal. One of the original projects that I worked on with another friend is a death metal project. So we don't exactly deal in cheery moods. So this was challenging to me. This genre is not something that I worked with much before, so I was kind of stuck for a little while in the writing process. And I talked to Gaz, and she must have had a crazy tear of inspiration here, because just yesterday she came up with sheets of ideas for lyrics, and we were both like doing some research, and she was doing the kind of the poetry side of it, coming up with something, a compelling idea, and putting it into words. And then, so I was reviewing these, and I was just kind of scrambling to, all right, oh wow, this is good stuff. I can kind of put it into need to come up with a melody to put this into to incorporate it into the project so that it can come full circle. But I think she wrote the lyrics, so I think she's the the best person to speak about that.
Well, mostly it's so as impressive as it sounds, I think it was largely part sleep deprivation when you get right down to it. Yeah, it's just a matter of attaching something to the melody and trying to keep it pony oriented, just as far as imagery was concerned. And I didn't want it to be too lighthearted, and I didn't want it to be too depressing either, given what this was. Yeah, given what this was for. So it just, I don't know.
Because that was something that kept being a roadblock for me. Was I would write lyrics and be awesome, there's really angsty, dark stuff. But the reality is, because it's for something that happened a week ago, you gotta be careful about some of the cliche songwriting notions that tend to place blame or ask questions that maybe ought not be asked a week after this kid tried to commit suicide. So that was a big challenge. I can kind of read some of these here.
That's
Well, I'm not gonna go out and read them. You're talking about themes.
It's like having your mom read your poetry for her friends.
I won't read it. I'll bring up we'll discuss some of the ideas, some of the concepts that went into the lyrical. Okay, some of the ideas that went into the lyrical content.
Mom, you're embarrassing me.
All right. So I like how, and you guys can hear it when you listen to the song, but something that struck me right off the bat was you incorporated themes of, and yeah, I wish we'd recorded our conversation last night, because you were talking about how Scootaloo was in a, some challenging times where she felt alone. She felt like she had to be presenting a certain face to the world and not able to do so, and that inability caused a lot of stress, and she didn't try and kill herself because it's a cartoon full of girls. But that was a struggle, and she felt like nobody really understood, and she couldn't tell anybody about it. And so I think that theme kind of comes through a little bit, kind of like all lost by myself, can't talk to anybody kind of thing, and we can only speculate, but I'm pretty confident that Michael had some challenges along the same lines. But you guys can judge, the relevance of the themes when you listen to the song. And so yeah, once we had all these lyrics in place, well, I could kind of shoot. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know if you can see how messy it is over the PlunderSteed stream, but yeah, she started it out. She wrote it and rewrote it like 5 times in an hour before coming up with something that would halfway work. So she ended up with something very quickly, and from there the challenge was to come up with a melodic motif for this, something like a vehicle where these lyrics could be presented in a way that fits in with the song. Originally, just to get it out there, we were kind of mirroring the melodic line that you developed a long time ago.
Yeah.
And because to me that's the most distinct part of the song, and I didn't want to drown it out, and I didn't just want to mimic it, but we wanted to work with it. So I sat down in the living room with my acoustic guitar, and
the keyboard wasn't working.
Well, in order to set up the audio-video setup that we're doing right now with both computers running live video and audio streaming, it somehow broke the MIDI feed, so I can't use my fancy piano in the sound module until I switch it back. Well, I didn't break it, it's just the configuration of the buses. It's a long story. So we went, I screwed around with it for a couple minutes, and I was like, what am I doing? Fuck this. So I got the acoustic guitar and sat on the couch, and I played the melody that you wrote a while back, and we came up with a complementary melody that could be used for vocals. And it took about 20 minutes.
I don't remember. I was very tired by that point.
So, it didn't take long at all.
It's
I
past my
kind
bedtime.
of piece it together to come up with something that would work. Because it's a fairly simple thing. It's starts out it's in C minor, and it moves up in thirds from there. We plays with diminished in the sevenths a little bit, but in a short amount of time, we were able to kind of tie it together. And once I heard her sing the lyric line in a way that complemented the melody, I was like, that's it. We're gonna stop. We're gonna go in the studio and we're gonna do this. And so she did. It took about maybe a couple takes to get an idea of what it was we wanted it to sound like, and then maybe another dozen takes to end up with a satisfactory take, which we have ready to present now.
Oh, and then I rewrote lyrics again.
Yeah, that did happen. You're like, I
But
don't
that's
like
some
it.
more crap. We have to fix it.
Right, because
Scratch that. Start again.
yeah, and we didn't have to rewrite it from scratch. We just had to kind of move syllables around a little bit so that a note can resonate in a way that's satisfying, pleasing to the ear, but without having to like cut it off short and dive directly into the next stanza. But through that, we were kind of kicking around some ideas of I think most of you guys have probably heard music from Linkin Park or Evanescence, where there's a melodic singing line that's kind of like bouncing back and forth with a more of a hip hop kind of a more percussive than melodic counterpart. They're both vocal, but they tell the same story, different halves of the same story. So we're shooting for something along those lines, and there's still some post-production that we have to do. It's got to be cleaned up a fair amount. But what we have today, I think, is our effort to take all these different concepts and mash them together, and hopefully it doesn't sound completely terrible. But we'll have to see.
At least the audience is limited, so I won't be too embarrassed.
So
we're working on it.
So that's pretty much the history of this whole project, and it comes out to about 4 minutes 50 seconds. We can we got plenty of options. We can mix and match and extend or retract or whatever. But for now, if you guys are ready, we can play with what we have.
Okay.